softball, then you are going to love the Fast Pitch TV show. We're bringing you more interviews, more videos, and more product reviews than anyone else on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fast Pitch TV show.
Hello, I'm your host, Gary Leland, and this is the Fast Pitch TV show. And this week's show features UCLA coaching legend Sue Enquist. Now, Sue gave a session about hitting at the National Coaches Clinic and allowed me to film it for you. Now, in this episode, I'm going to bring you part one of Sue's hitting clinic. But before we go to Sue's clinic, I'd like to show you this short video for the Fast Pitch magazine. Now that was a preview of the magazine I published. Now if you're interested in finding out more about more information on the Fast Pitch magazine or on my magazine, just go to fastpitchmagazine.com after you finish watching this episode. Now let's watch part one of Sue's clinic.
Okay, my goal in this segment is to review the basics of the swing and be able to show you what actually happens in the swing. And then the rest of the time, I want to really cover what I bet are your most common problems and solutions, which are my problems and solutions as well. So even though we compete at a high level, and you may be at the beginning stages, our problems are very similar. So it's going to be twofold. One, what happens in the swing, the mechanics, and two, let's cover some problems that you may have in the swing, and then solutions for them. That's going to be my goal today when we go over this. First thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and just break down literally what happens in the swing. We're going to eliminate a lot of misunderstanding. Okay? There are not two different swings. You don't swing down on a rise ball and swing under a drop ball. That's a fallacy. It's incorrect. We have one swing. We have 23 to 25 sixtieths of a second. So girls think you've got about a third of a second to make a decision. We don't have the ability to create two swings. So that's number one. Number two, we don't squish the bugs when we hit. So we have to eliminate that language. And I'll be able to show you this at a 60th of a second. Our goal is to be able to be efficient, not a lot of extra moves, put a lot of force on the ball, whether I'm a contact type hitter or a home run type hitter. I want to put maximum force on the ball. We're not teaching a home run swing or a contact swing. We're teaching you the swing, the principles in the swing that all great hitters possess. We want to make sure, last, that you swing in what we call a big zone. A big zone means you can be a little bit early or a little bit late, and you're still going to hit the ball. And if you swing in that big zone, you have a larger margin for error. Because we know hitting is all about timing. So I'm going to go ahead and break those down in the swing right now. Top left, we have Olympian Crystal Bustos. Top right, we have Jess Mendoza. And I've turned her around and made her right-handed. Sorry about that, Jess. But for teaching purposes, we want to make sure the eyes are seeing everything the same. And then we can flip them around and make them a left-hander, their natural swing. Then we've got Tasha Watley, bottom left, and we've got Jenny Topping, bottom right. In my opinion, four of the greatest hitters that this country has ever seen. You're going to find some are contact hitters and some are power hitters, but you're going to see that their swings are all very similar. How you get in the box, how you stand in the box, how you get ready to swing, different for everybody. That's your swing personality. That's your swing DNA. That's just how you're put together, how you feel comfortable standing in the box. There are no specific principles there. When I say principle, think that's the rule of hitting. When I say principle, think that's what all great hitters do. The reason stance, there aren't specific principles, because everybody does different stuff. But when I start talking at toe touch, that's when all great hitters start to look identical. So if you look up there right now, can you see, as they're in their stance, some have the bat low, some have it high, some have their legs more straight, some have them more bent. That's their swing DNA. They're just getting in and they're getting comfortable. I will note that if you want to get in there and be in a good athletic position, that's going to help you get to toe touch more efficiently. So remember, when you get in the box, am I in a position where I can get my body to toe touch in an efficient way? Because we have to be efficient because we don't have a lot of time. We have about a third of a second to make sure we get it done. So I believe seeing is the quickest way to learn the basics of hitting. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about each principle in the swing. There's about 9. But then I'm more importantly going to emphasize just a few key points that you can walk out the door and work on as a hitter. So right now what we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and go through each part of the swing. And you're going to be able to see how each player goes through and executes their swing. Everybody literally, I'm going to go ahead and let me just slow this down a little bit. It's a little too fast for us. Now let's go ahead and we're going to talk, look at bottom right, we're going to take a look at Jenny Topping. We flipped her around, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at her swing. Right here at toe touch is when all great hitters come together, meaning they all look alike. But how do I get to that position? Well, I step in the box, I take my stance, I make sure that I've got my good, clear mental frame of mind. I'm thinking yes, yes, yes on every pitch. I'm thinking yes on every swing, and then I just have one decision to make. That's to stop my barrel if I don't want to swing. So in this, breaking down the mechanics of the hitting, we have the stance. Our first move, when we get into that positioning, is I have to go back before I go forward. In anything we do, we have to go back before we go forward. So I'm going to go ahead and I want you to focus right now on Jenny Topping. She's the bottom right, okay? And we're going to go through each key position. We're at the stance. The first position is the negative move. You're going to notice Tasha Watley on the bottom left, okay? We've got her as a slapper. We're going to go ahead and turn around because we've got people out there that also do the short game. The fun thing about the slapping is if you're going to power slap or a slash slap, the swing mechanics are the same. So I always want to put a slapper there so you can see when we break down the swing, you're going to see she's going to have the same key edit points. Key edit points and principles are the same thing when I'm talking to you. So we step in there. I want you to think about 3 things on our posture line. Our posture switches to get ready to swing. That means I go back before I go forward. And you're going to notice when I talk posture lines, I'm going to talk the relationship between your nose and your belly button all through the swing. So getting ready to swing, I'm going to talk about your posture line. Getting to toe touch, I'm going to talk about the posture line. And then swinging and follow through, I'm going to talk about the posture line. But in short, it goes like this. If my head's up here, my posture line's here, my pitcher is there. As I get ready, the posture line goes like this. My nose is in front of my belly button. Can you see that as I get ready to swing? This is bad, nose behind the belly button. This is good, nose in front of the belly button. The reason this is important is my head, if my head is in front of the rest of my body gets underneath my head more quickly. My body follows my head. So if my head is back here as I get ready, this is a poor position because the head's behind the belly button. It's going to take me click, 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 click. Click is time to get to a balanced position before I get ready to swing. So I'm going to talk about extra clicks, meaning extra time. Eliminate the clicks, eliminate the extra time, because when you reach the highest level, you don't have time. So we're going to go ahead and talk about those posture lines when I break down hitting. So when we get ready, think attack. Think you're going to go ahead and punch somebody in that dark alley. You would never do this to try to punch somebody, right? You want to go ahead and put all your force, take your nose to that person, and you're going to literally get into that nice attack position. Notice that my head is in front of my body, and as I get ready to punch, my body starts to get underneath my head. Same with hitting. My body's going to fall on my head. So this is bad posture. This is good posture when I'm getting ready to go forward. It's called the negative move. So you step in, we have stance, we have negative move. Key on negative move, if you've checked out, key on negative move, head is in front of my belly button. That's all we're going to look for right now. Let's go ahead and sneak a peek at the negative move. Stance, negative move. Stance, negative move. Negative move is I'm simply getting ready to go forward. Stance, negative move. If I were to go ahead and draw my line on the inside eye as I get ready, the head is in front of the belly button. Now we know that the body is going to literally come right underneath the head as we go to the next phase of the swing, which is toe touch. Toe touch is where all great hitters start to look identical. Toe touch, and when I say toe touch, think strong. Think weight transfer. Some of you are non-striders. As long as you're transferring the weight forward and getting to what we call 50-50. What does 50-50 mean? 50% of the weight is on the back foot, 50% of the weight is on the front. And some people like to say just a little bit more on the front side because you're going to get ready to lift up the back side to start the rotation part of your swing. So key points at toe touch where all great hitters start to come together. Take a look right now. I'm going to go ahead and go through them quickly. The head, she has a two-eyed look at the pitcher. The barrel angle is behind her head. It's bent, angled back behind the head. It is not wrapping, and this is going to create a nice strong position so you're not going to be vulnerable to that high pitch of the rise ball. You're going to notice that the front hand is inside the front elbow. The front hand is inside the front elbow, and the hands are at or above the top of the strike zone. Even as a slapper, it's the same. Next, you'll see that there's an equal bend in the arms. When our arms are bent, we have stored energy. When my arms are straight, I have no energy to give. You're going to notice, you can see that most of them are almost completely balanced. Some have a little bit of the weight back, but you'll see that they've got great balance at the toe touch position. You'll notice that their hips are square or facing the plate. You'll notice that they have not started to rotate yet. The hips are square to the plate. Notice that the hips have not turned yet. Obviously, Tasha's turned her hips. She's getting ready to go into the slap. The hips are square. Common problem, people stride and rotate at the same time. We're first going to go ahead and stride and start to transfer weight without rotating because we still want to be able to buy a little time to figure out if it's in or out. We want to be able to figure out if it's fast or slow. If we rotate already, now we've given up a lot of things in the swing. If we rotate super early, we're going to be vulnerable to the off speed or the outside pitch. You'll notice that their knees are inside their feet. Their knees are inside their feet in a good athletic position. Slight bend at the knees, a slight bend at the hips, and they're in a good athletic position. You'll notice that the feet are at about a 45-degree angle. So at toe touch, as an instructor, you're going to look to see if all of these elements, they have them in their swing when you're evaluating the swing. For us, as teachers, it's difficult to go ahead and measure what the swing's doing at game speed. That's why the video is so important. We can break it down a 60th of a second. I'm using RightView Pro, these models that you can purchase. The nice thing about it is it shows all different types of hitters. There's about 89 lesson segments in the product. And so you as a...
I'm sorry, what's it called?
It's Right View Pro, and they're $75. It's a CD format. You just put it in your computer, and then you just can click the lessons. We go ahead and teach you how to teach hitting. That's what happens, and you can get that online. You can get it here if you need to get it through me. It was a really impactful experience for me to be able to put this together with Mike Candrea, one of our greatest coaches in the game, and MLB, Major League Baseball player Don Slott, who owns the company and does both baseball and softball. So you now can see in slow motion the baseball and the swing, baseball swing and softball swing are the same. A contact hitter and a power hitter, it's the same swing. High and low, in and out, slow, fast. You're teaching the players the mechanics the same, which is great. You're also going to find that the mechanics of hitting, which is linear to rotational. Let's eliminate the controversy. Hitting is linear and rotational. And as a teacher, it's not, oh, I'm emphasizing rotating, or I'm emphasizing just linear. It's both. The phase I'm in right now is the getting ready to swing phase. Everybody gets ready to swing, and then they actually swing. So in the get ready phase is the stance, the negative move, and then our positive move to toe touch. We do that on every pitch whether we swing or not. We do that on every pitch whether we swing or not. We do that on every pitch whether we swing or not. Your mindset, your strategy is think swing, so we can get into a good strong position. Strong position is the head's over the belly button. So this is a bad position, head's back, because click, 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 click. It takes me that many clicks to get back to 50-50. If I'm at 50-50, then I'm able to transfer literally on one frame, start to transfer on my weight. I now can pick up my backside and start to rotate. If the player doesn't get to that position on time, click, click, click. Remember, 1/60th of a second, that can be the difference between hitting a ball up the middle and popping up to the catcher. So that's why it's so important to be able to see in slow motion. It's so effective to understand why hitting is so challenging. Is literally, this can be the difference between hitting that long ball and popping up to the catcher. So as long as we have that respect for how challenging hitting can be, we can stay in the game a long time and love the idea of getting 1% better every day. So you're getting ready to swing, stance, negative, positive move to toe touch. That's all getting ready. Now I'm going to start to talk about the actual swing part. Okay? We go ahead and clean them up a little bit. So you can see stance, they all look different. Negative move, they get ready differently, but at toe touch, they all start to look very similar. And these are components that all great hitters have. Everybody does those little things in their toe touch position. You're going to see the great hitter have the two-eyed look. You're going to see them literally be able to be in a position where their head's right over their belly button at toe touch. Their hands are going to be at or above the top of the strike zone. Equal bend in the arms. The hand, the front arm is inside the elbow. They're not out here. They're in here. You're going to notice that literally their hips are square to the plate on toe touch. Their knees inside their feet. And literally, when they take that stride, you're going to see that their front foot's slightly open to prepare them before they get down to plant to start to rotate. So there's getting ready. We just covered the getting ready phase. Now let's go ahead and talk about, now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to rotate. We know that the swing rotational phase starts somewhere between toe touch and heel plant. Somewhere between toe touch and heel plant. Okay? Heel plant. Heel plant of the front foot. So right now I want you to go ahead and take a look at, I'm just going to go ahead and identify on Crystal Bustos, one of our greatest hitters. Let's go ahead and just, I want you to be aware of what I'm talking about when I say heel plant. When we say heel plant, think that the body is laying the foundation now to start to rotate. So when we're on toe touch, you'll notice that the front foot, for most hitters, the toe is touching, or the ball of the foot is touching the ground. There are some hitters that stride and they land flat. They actually toe touch and heel plant at the same time. That just simply means when they get to that point, they're going to start to rotate. But you'll notice most of them, when they stride to toe touch, you'll notice that the heel is still off the ground. And if we can land at that 50-50 position, the next click, we put at least 51% of our weight on the front foot. That allows the back foot to lift. Does that make sense? Can you follow that? So I literally, if I'm here, can you see how I'm not going to be able to put my heel down and start to rotate? This is kind of tough to do it from here. I'm exaggerating to make a point. But what if I think attack, take my nose to the ball? So when you go ahead and you stand in there and you're going to think stride, toe touch, think attack. I'm going to take my nose to the ball. That's going to get my weight transferred and stay centered when I get to that toe touch position. And now we're going to go to heel plant. Now my front foot's going to go down, and that allows my backside to start working. I want you to notice that the hands literally keep that bend, and that barrel angle is still back when they get into the heel plant position. At heel plant, that front knee is starting to firm up, but they're not locked. The front leg is not locked. And now she's going to go ahead and start to rotate. So remember, hitting is two things, linear and rotational. Linear, girls, means just straight. This is linear. So we teach this. We teach weight transfer. Whether you're striding or not, we're teaching weight transfer. Then you have rotational or angular forces, meaning forces that are going around an axis of rotation. All right? So there's two phases, getting ready to swing and swinging. Now I'm going to talk about the swing phase, which is about the rotation, creating acceleration through rotation. The one thing I want to be able to show and let the world know that there's no such thing as squishing the butt. We don't do anything in sport where we squish the butt. The back heel lifts when the front heel goes down. They have a relationship, the back foot and the front foot. So when the heel plant occurs on the front foot, watch how the back heel starts to lift. There is no bug squishing. So right now, I want you to take a look at heel plant. They're at toe touch. They go to heel plant, toe touch to heel plant, toe touch to heel plant. You can see literally the elbow up above is starting to drop down, and they're going to get into the skip the rock position. We've all skipped a rock on a pond. That's the arm action of that back arm with our back. They're starting to close the gap to get into that skip the rock position. But I want you to see right now the relationship between the back heel and the front heel when they start to go to the next part of the swing. Does everybody see that that back heel is actually starting to lift? Look at Jess Mendoza top right and look at Jenny Topping bottom right. You can see that they've literally started to work together. I'm going to show you right now, if you can see my heels. When I get into heel plant, my heel goes down, the back heel comes up. You see the relationship between the two? That's the most efficient way to be able to get into your rotation. Now, I want to be able to put all my forces together when it comes to rotation. I've got hip forces when I rotate, I have elbow forces when I get ready to skip the rock, and I have forces in my wrist to be able to release the barrel of the back. Those are three forces: hips, elbows, and wrist. Now, if I do not put all those forces together, I'm not going to generate maximum force on the ball. Remember, I'm not teaching home runs, I'm just teaching to be able to hit the ball as hard as you can, whether you weigh 100 pounds or you weigh 250 pounds. If I literally, once I start to pick up that back foot, I'm starting to rotate my back side, my elbow has started to drop down into the skip the rock position, and I keep the bend in my wrist, keeping the barrel above my hands. I don't extend out this way or drop this way. I literally keep the bend and keep that barrel nice and high. Keep the barrel high because I want to be able to hit the high and the low pitch. If I put all my forces together, we stop the camera and we check right when the hands pass the back shoulder. And we say, are the hip gears, the elbow gears, and the hand gears lined up to sequentially unlock on the ball? Or have we spun open prematurely and left our elbow and our hand behind? Or have we chopped wood with our hands and left our hips behind? So think of 3 things that we would love in that perfect world to line up: hips, elbows, and wrist. And think throwing. We don't throw like this, do we? No. They all come together, and then we sequentially unlock them. Meaning our hips are opening, my elbow is opening, and then my hand is opening. That makes sense? Meaning open, meaning release that wrist, release that elbow, and release that hip. So that's our goal at connection. We're connecting lower power with the upper power. Now, for you coaches that are dealing with youth, please believe I get it. We're not going to be teaching our 12-year-olds about those physics of the swing, but we can start introducing concepts that we know an 8-year-old would understand. Skip the rock. You don't skip the rock like this, and you don't skip a rock like this. You skip a rock just like that. So we can work on that when we talk about our drills. It's called connection. And you're going to see in a perfect world, we have our hand gear, our elbow gear, and our back hip lined up, square, vertically, in our perfect world. Okay? Let me get Crystal Bustos. You'll notice Crystal Bustos has her hands a little bit in front, but you can see, there's no doubt about it. She does a great job of putting her hands together, right? Wouldn't we love to have some of those Crystal Bustos gears? Wouldn't that be outstanding? Those of you that don't know Crystal, does everybody know who Babe Ruth is? Yes. Yeah, raise your hand. Yep, 100% of the people. If you don't know Crystal Bustos is our Babe Ruth. She was a person, was a clutch player, loved the game, showed up every single day, put the work in, and boy, did she have great mechanics to back it up. Even when we're slapping, even when I'm standing here as a slapper and I come through here, even here as a slapper, I've got to line my gears up to be able to soft slap, power slap, tap, soft slap. My mechanics are still the same. So that's kind of fun as a slapper, learn the same mechanics. Whether you're a righty or a lefty hitter or a lefty slapper as well. So that's what's kind of fun about Right View Pro is we're teaching you a common language and the principles that all great hitters possess. So connection, think lower and upper half working together to put maximum force on the ball. Next is bat lag.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to SoftballJunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout. And wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now that last short clip, well, that was my daughter Amanda, and she was telling you about my softball website, softballjunk.com. And make sure you wrote down the code she gave you, FPTV30, because anytime you buy a softball bat on my website, you can enter that code at checkout and save yourself $30. And you can use that code over and over and over. It's a really great deal. It's good in the store too in Arlington, Texas. But you have to remember the code, and that code was FPTV30. Now, if you enjoy the show at all, I ask you at least check out my website, softballjunk.com, the next time you're looking for softball bats, gloves, equipment of any kind. Now, if I offer you a competitive price, well, please buy from me and show some support for this show. It's a great way to support what I'm doing here for you. Now, I hope you enjoyed Sue's session, and don't forget to come back next week for part 2 of Sue's clinic. Please tell your friends about the Fast Pitch TV show, and make sure and take a look at my website, www.fastpitch.tv. Until next time, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye, and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fast Pitch TV network. See all our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.